Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NBA center Ryan Hollins.
Couple pump fakes, leads in, shot blocked by Ryan Hollins. Hollins sent that into the third row.
6 rebounds and 8 assists.
Hollins climbs the stairs.
Down the floor.
Ryan Hollins! He is the high jumper! That's what I want to see. Give me some gunpowder and throw the hammer down.
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Rick Bucher.
Rick Bucher.
Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Hollins, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast Network. I'm Rick Bucher. You can see me on FS1. You can read me on Bleacher Report, and you can follow me on Twitter at Rick Bucher and on Instagram at Rick_Bucher. He is Ryan Hollins. You can see him on ESPN. You will soon see him, I think. You'll be back with the Clippers, correct?
I don't know, Rick.
Okay, that's up in the air, but you'll be able to see him on ESPN on their various shows, and you can follow him on Twitter at the Ryan Hollins and on Instagram at simply Ryan Hollins. He's a good follow. Make sure that you are following him. All right, Ryan, we got a number of things to get into. Both got to get a little NFL in here, but we will start with the subject that just always gives, and that is, well, first of all, the first subject that we should get into is the fact that, as far as I know, Ryan Hollins is doing this podcast naked. I think he's not wearing. I think he's wearing pants, but I don't know that he's wearing pants. But I know that he's not wearing much any other than pants. So, just to give you a visual, we're feeling very comfortable as podcast mates now. All right. Any you want to add anything?
Pants on, bro.
You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, when you do a pod with somebody for so long, man, at some point, they got to get comfortable in here, man. At some point, man. It's like 150 degrees in the valley right now.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. So, LeBron James. I want to start with the LeBron James trademarking Taco Tuesday. He also came up with a glass football helmet that I'm not quite sure I get, so I'm going to steer clear of that. There's a real divide, as there always is on everything with LeBron, in terms of the Taco Tuesday trademark attempt. Genius, brilliant, or dude, what are you doing? Like, why are we doing this? What's the point of this?
I would go the other route and just say necessary.
Necessary.
Yeah, I mean, he's brought a different type of attention to the name Taco Tuesday, and there are T-shirts being made, websites popping up. I'm pretty sure there's a restaurant in the works. It only makes sense that he takes the rights to it, even though Taco Tuesday's been out before LeBron.
Sure.
It's been out before LeBron. And I want to throw another angle to you.
Okay.
That I don't think LeBron is, this isn't on purpose. But I was speaking with one of my, Latino colleagues, and he said, hey, I don't mind Taco Tuesday. It's a cool concept. But as LeBron goes, kick, 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 kick,
yes,
quite offensive.
Yep.
And I don't think LeBron's taking it like that. I've heard Mexicans do that, even making fun of themselves.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I don't know how you feel.
That's like the N-word with the brothers, man. You can say it, I can't. I mean,
really?
Yes.
Really?
You can say it, I can't. I can't say I would never use that word. I can't.
That's true. But is are the noises is it like offensive? Or is it like, come on, like
it's the whole. I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's probably my primary issue with it. Is it? And it's not just the sound. Taco Tuesday. He is. It's a stereo.
How do you say it?
He's playing into a stereotype. Taco Tuesday. Yeah,
it's such a happy thing, though.
No,
Rick.
it is. Look, I understand that, but and look, in this day and age, political correctness. I think that there's times where, we are overly sensitive, but this is the yin and the yang of LeBron, and it seems as if, like, I've had this conversation about LeBron on a variety of things, which is for the same reason that I understand your logic in that LeBron talking about Taco Tuesday now makes it a valuable entity, even though it's existed long before him. Him trademarking it does not mean that he invented it. He just made it valuable. He made it lucrative. So for him to trademark it because of that, I can appreciate that. But it comes with, you have the power to do that. You have the power to take a pedestrian phrase and make it worth money. For the same reason, you have to be conscious of what you do in a way that is overly sensitive. That is, I can't stray into being, especially with all the stands, with the social stands that he takes, you can't stray into making a mistake like a racial stereotype. You can't. It comes with the territory of being LeBron James. That is one of the prices that you pay in exchange for the fact that you can make Taco Tuesday into something that makes money.
I mean, Rick, you got an NFL team called the Redskins, but LeBron can't say Taco Tuesday.
See,
come on, man, you gotta
don't do the what about thing. Don't do the what about thing. I'm not arguing. I'm not saying that I don't believe that the Redskins should have their name. I think that should change. I will say that, but that's not the subject at hand. You're trying.
You think LeBron should not say it's Taco Tuesday? Taco Tuesday, guys.
Look, he doesn't. No. See, now you gotta do the extreme. You gotta go and you gotta say it in a boring way. He can say it in an exciting way and not make it. We
appreciate the Latino culture.
Look,
to celebrate
you're being
tacos, even though tacos are slightly American, and the tacos I'm eating
Taco
are not
Tuesday.
You sounded even.
No, I did not. Hello, Governor. Taco Tuesday.
Oh, gosh.
Look, you could do...
an Australian guy wouldn't be offended by an Australian accent.
Okay, that's because it's not a race.
Oh, gosh.
We're not talking about a country necessarily. We're talking about, as you said, Latinos, Hispanics. Aussies can be, that's like making fun of a Southerner's accent.
Okay.
Southerner's accent can be white or black, and Aussie can be white or black, although I think they're probably predominantly white. But nonetheless, predominantly. But still, Ben Simmons.
Yeah, everybody down there, they have accent. I played with the Nathan Jawai. He's definitely had this big. I mean, Nate was a big 6'9", 275-pound guy. He made single.
See?
The funniest thing ever.
Yeah. So it was the first thing that hit me wrong. And again, it is like, and it took away the joy of what it was. I loved seeing him with his family. I loved seeing him create this thing. But there's like this integer of, you're this big, you're this famous. You got to be just a little more aware, a little smarter, because you are that famous, because you are that well known. And it just seems as if there's this disregard for the responsibility that comes with being that famous. And I guess I am particularly sensitive to this because I was with Yao Ming when he came over and did a book with him and watched how careful he had to be not to offend. And he had, he was stuck between the Chinese and Americans and looking for a way not to offend either, embarrass his countrymen or to say something that was insulting to Americans, and was in the spotlight constantly and was just getting familiar with our culture. And he never had a misstep, but he took pains to make sure that he never had a misstep. And I admire that. I know how difficult it was. And so when LeBron just like throws caution to the wind, like he pays no attention to that. and yet at the same time he wants to, stand on this pedestal and talk about important issues. It's sort of like, dude, if you want to be taken seriously, then you have to take everything that you do seriously. And I think that's fair.
I will say, though, this isn't a big consensus that's just offended by his taco remarks.
Yeah, I'd like to see. Look, if I picked up on it, I can only imagine what Hispanics thought, as your friend said.
Okay.
I can only imagine.
He did say it. He did. He said so. It's legitimate. Hey, I'm not making it up.
Yeah, and I don't think he's alone. I don't think your boy's like overly sensitive. When I first heard it, I went, ugh.
Really?
Yes. God. It was like I loved and it became more and more that. Like, I don't remember it at the beginning. It was like It evolved into this like he was a Hispanic caricature. I just thought,
fun,
this is
man.
not.
Well, Speedy Gonzalez wasn't racist.
There was racist stuff in those cartoons. Hell yeah, dude, go back and watch some of those cartoons. Oh my god, Elmer Fudd. Oh, sorry.
Daffy Duck.
No, Magoo, Mr. Magoo. Oh my god,
wow,
seriously racist. Go back and watch some of those old cartoons. Yes, some very racist stereotypes.
Was Daffy Duck African American? I know the coyote was definitely black.
No. Why? Because he kept getting it.
Oh man, no, you couldn't catch him. He couldn't catch the Roadrunner.
Well, I know, but I don't know. Well, Wile E. Coyote took it in the shorts every single time.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's tough. All right. The other, now on the flip side, again, this is the beauty of being LeBron. Nike has dedicated and named its newest building after him. And I don't know, when was the last time you were on the Nike campus?
I haven't been to Nike, and I want to say, 6 or 7 years.
Really?
We shot a piece up there. Yeah.
So I was up there, I want to say last fall. I think I've been there since then, but I was up there last fall with Brian Grant. And he was speaking there, and we went to one of the new buildings that looked like the Death Star. It looked like something out of Battlestar Galactica.
Word.
Oh, it was amazing. And then we went to, he was speaking in Mike Krzyzewski's building. Krzyzewskiville is the gym. All glass windows. It's the Krzyzewski scoreboard. I think if you go on my Instagram, you will find various photos of the building. Has his name all over the place. Has photos. Has a steel, like a wire steel statue of him. It is amazing. I mean, it is. Krzyzewski obviously means a lot to Nike because they put some dollars into that thing. And so, you showed me a photo of is he the only coach that has, as far as I know,
that type of,
as far as I know,
wow.
Like, I'm trying to think whether Tiger still has his building or not. But Krzyzewski's building was as impressive as anything that I've seen there. That and the Death Star, which was the new building. And I should know, I think it's a research building if I'm not mistaken. But in any event, LeBron's building, I mean, it's amazing. The architecture and the creativeness that goes into their buildings is truly, truly impressive. But I stop and I think about these buildings, and I think about all that goes into them and how magnificent they are. And they're built on shoes. They're built on gym shoes. It kind of boggles the mind. It's a little bit like, I talked the other day to a guy who's a former sports writer who now has a shirt company that's doing very, very well. And as soon as I know they're sponsoring us, I'll mention the name. But in any event, former sports writer, got out of it and is now the head of this this company that's doing extremely well, and it's making shirts. And
I would actually challenge that statement and shout out LeBron, because that's just big, because it's kind of like a beyond the NBA thing. Like it's huge for basketball.
Yeah.
By him having that building. But when I think of Nike, I would say that Nike is more than just shoes. I would say that because there's other good shoes out there. There are other good shoes. Their PR department has created something different.
Yeah.
Their public relations, the way
Marketing.
that they market, their
Yep.
marketing team, that to me is what sets Nike apart. I'm like, well, what's the difference between these Nikes and these Adidas? I'm brainwashed to like Nike. I'm
Yeah.
brainwashed to like Jordan. Like those Adidas got to look really good before you rock them. They
Yeah.
got to look
And
really good.
the Nike, the Adidas that I've worn, I've liked the way they've looked. I haven't always liked the way they've worn. And I was a big Adidas guy coming up because as a soccer player, that was my shoe. The Adidas Gerd, either the Beckenbauers or the Gerd Muellers were my shoe.
You have a narrow foot?
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah. Narrow foot and
Yeah.
high arch.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
why.
so I love them. But like of late, the Adidas that I've tried, I think they are fashionable. I like the way they look, but I haven't liked playing in them when it comes to hoop shoes.
Mm.
Now I haven't played in Damien's. So I hear those are pretty good, but but here's the thing. And I agree with you that Nike has done a great job of creating this brand and image that stands above, and it's become to mean so much more. But the bottom line is where all this started is shoes, is gym shoes, is a waffle tread, is a running shoe. That's where all this started, and that's what's made these monolithic buildings. I find that extraordinary. All right.
No, that's a good point. And I mean, when you can sell it, you can make the shoe for like $3 or $4, and you can sell it for $200.
Well, we'll see with the Chinese,
that don't hurt either.
with the tariffs going on right now. Times be a changing. Nike has to be one of the companies that is wondering like, what the hell's going on? Because
shoot, even if they double, they make the shoes for $5 a piece. I mean, what are you making them for 10 now?
well,
I mean,
still,
think about
well, no, but if you have to move your production and you have to build new factories someplace else and then train new people. And then like, I look, they're obviously making money hand over fist, but that marketing and creating an image and all the things that they do, that costs money too. So they need to keep that money train rolling. And I would imagine that if they have to double the price of the development and construction of their shoes or production of their shoes, then yeah, I could see that being a challenge. Anyway, all right. Speaking of money and challenges, so I want to bring this up. This is a couple of NFL topics. We're recording this Thursday night after the Packers beat the Bears 10-3, and we'll get to that in a second. But Antonio Brown posted on Instagram the letter that he got from Mike Mayock, the GM, fining him for not showing up, and has gone through a multitude of things. Helmet issues, cryotherapy on his feet. You've done cryotherapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You like it?
No, I didn't. I'd rather sit for 15 minutes in a cold tub just because you never get comfortable in there.
I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. I love it more. I mean, I've done the cold bath, and I like that a lot. I don't like the ice. I don't like steeping in the ice. But
yeah, but after like 5 minutes, you don't feel anything.
that is true. Our boy Will Blackman, did you know this? He did not use any cold therapy whatsoever. Didn't believe in it. Thought it dulled the nerve endings. Never,
Yes.
like during his entire career, did not use cold therapy.
See, that's kind of crazy for NFL.
Oh.
Maybe he got away with it being a DB, but my understanding is that like when you're really banged up, like bruised, you're supposed to hop in there.
Yeah.
Or you're supposed to ice down. But just in general, you're not supposed to do this like a daily thing.
No, I get that. One of our listeners DM'd me, and apparently has a medical background. He was like, I hope I'm not talking out of turn. I'm not using his name. But he was like, your boy Will is talking some nonsense when it comes to cold therapy.
And being like NFL, like the way he was probably getting hit.
You had to. You said like maybe because he was DB. I don't care what position. You were a punter. You were a punter. You take one hit. You take one lick, and you're going to be hurt. I'm trying to think
of a situation where how he got away with it.
I don't know. Will is a different cat. He's over in London now. He's working for Sky Sports. We're going to be doing the podcast. He's going to do it from there. Yeah, he's over there. I think over there for like 2 months.
Congrats, Will.
Yeah. Shout out to our boy Will. So very quickly, Antonio Brown has done all this stuff. You've watched it. As a fellow athlete, do you look at that but how do you measure that? Do you judge it? Do you go, I'm not going to judge it because I'm a fellow athlete? How do you view everything that Antonio Brown has done, and do you feel like any of it is justified?
I think all of it's justified. I don't mind Antonio Brown being upset.
About what?
About
being fined?
Fussing about the helmet, getting into it with the GM, not liking the way he's been spoken to.
Dude, he was at practice.
Not liking the way things went down.
He was at practice and said he was going to punch the GM in front of the entire team.
And what I would say, my problem is the way he's gone about it, because he's going to mess it up for a lot of future athletes. And they're going to put provisions in place before they pay the next guy. They're going to say, remember what happened to Antonio Brown? And that now becomes an issue because there's guys currently locked out, fighting. In the NFL, you have top players in their position, best players on the team, cannot get paid a contract, have to hold out until the day of camp, until the day of the game. This guy's still holding out. And Antonio's got $30 million at hand, and he's said he's going to walk away from it. He's fussing at it with the GM. I mean, he's just melting from the seams, and it's much bigger than you, Antonio. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And we all get upset, bro. It's some, no, for real, Rick, it's some nonsense what you go through as a professional athlete. I'm not going to hide or change that. But the way you go and handle it, it's kind of what you get paid for, bro.
Sure.
Ain't no other job on the planet you going to get, Antonio, unless you're some amazing entrepreneur, and I hope you are. You're going to make $30 million.
Here's the other part. As a basketball player, and it's not every basketball player, but basketball players in general, your value, because the numbers are just the ratio, there are fewer of you guys on a team. And so you carry more leverage and weight. It's how it works. Football doesn't work that way. Like, as good as Antonio Brown is, and man, I just watched a clip of him the other day in training camp, and I was like, oh, it reminded me just how good he is. They may cut him. They may let him go. That's the difference. Whereas an NBA team, if you were as good as Antonio Brown on an NBA team, they would put up with almost anything.
Yeah, I give you almost anything. I mean, I played with DeMarcus, and DeMarcus was pretty testy in moments. He had his moments, I'll say. He's a great guy, but he had his moments, and he'll tell you that himself. But when I look at Antonio, here's a big difference between NBA and NFL. Those guys are replaceable. And you don't see the quarterback position can get away with that because they're kind of irreplaceable, and they get it. So I would say if anybody can do that, the NBA is kind of a bunch of quarterbacks, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can't replace you. Aaron Rodgers, we're firing a coach if he don't get along with Aaron Rodgers because he's Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
And that's the mentality kind of with basketball because he is the system. Like, go try to run that spread offense, that 5 wide with whoever as your back with Matt Castle.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Go throw anybody else in there. Okay, Mark Sanchez, for instance. Like that thing ain't working the exact same way. So to me, that's the biggest difference in the NBA. A young prospect can honestly put you over the top, or a guy, a point guard per se, or a LeBron James, a Jimmy Butler. It's that big a difference, bro, between making the playoffs and not.
So speaking of quarterbacks, I wasn't going to go here, but since you brought it up, a lot of them are in the NFL are getting paid on potential as opposed to like Ezekiel Elliott or other positions. Like you have to prove what you are. Jared Goff, I don't know, has proved who he is, or Dak Prescott has proved who he's going to be, or that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They're giving him a contract that's anticipating he's going to become that. Is there a position in the NBA that is equal to that? I've never looked at it that way, and I don't think there is. I don't think it's by position, but I wondered if I'm missing something. If there is something about, like, if you're a point guard, or maybe in this day and age, because the small forward position is so dominant, that there is a position where you go, you know what? If you show anything, you're going to get paid ahead of some other position. Let's put it that way. Not commensurate with how it works with the NFL and QBs, but just a position that is more likely to get paid on potential if you show something than another position.
Point guards and big men.
Yeah.
I can.
So
fill
1s and
in,
5s.
I can fill in everything else in between.
Yeah.
Point guards. I can't teach height, and I can't teach court vision. I can't teach you how to play the game. That's why everybody makes this big fuss over Lonzo Ball. Well, that's why he was so highly sought after, because a guy that can make at the guard position, he makes everybody better immediately. You know, you look at the Warriors, Steph Curry's that guy. You look at the Lakers, LeBron James is that guy. Jason Kidd in his time was that guy. But a guy who can make, he just makes everybody else look better. I can find a 3-and-D guy, man. I don't want to say they grow on trees, but we can figure that out.
Well, that's where I think the game. I asked it because I wonder whether the game has evolved when I look at the premier position now of the top teams. It is that dominant forward, and can rotate between 3 and 4. It's going to operate on different places on the floor, but LeBron, KD, Kawhi, Paul George. I put all of those guys in the top 10 players in the league right now. And I don't know that there's another position that is dominant as that one. For when it comes to players who are all like, I need to have this position and this type of player if I want to play for a championship.
Well, Kawhi just showed you he could go out and get a championship, but he had to have all the pieces correct around him.
Sure. So does LeBron. So does LeBron at this point. So does KD.
To a lesser extent, though. To a lesser extent. Put it like this. Like, if you're going to look at a quarterback, you go, well, damn. If you're going to grade quarterbacks, you're going to go, well, damn. Aaron Rodgers, I can put him on the field to anybody, and he's going to throw guys open. He's going to read defenses. He's going to make everybody better.
And LeBron's more of that than Kawhi is.
You look at Kirk Cousins, and you're the Vikings, and you go, well, we have a dominant run game. He can throw the long ball, and we can run some play action. So potential, right? Like you said, potential. Logically, that should work. So in the NBA, you look at a guy like Paul George and go, well, damn, he's top in his position. So if I pair him with A, B, and C, this is going to be really good. But LeBron James, you go, I can cut a corner here, cut a corner there, because he's not going to need as much. But it's shown, I agree with you, Rick, he needs it now.
That's the eighth mystery of the world, is what Minnesota Vikings saw in Kirk Cousins. Because I could have told you when he was in Washington that wasn't going to work out. Could have told you, and for my
numbers,
and he ain't going to work. It's not going to work out. He's not going to be what the Vikings need him to be. And because they spent that much money on him, means they can't spend it elsewhere to bolster the team around him. That was a bad bet. And if it was Mike Zimmer who made the decision, and I believe it was, who said, let's go get him, it is Exhibit 9,743 of you don't give personnel control and the checkbook to the head coach because he's always going to look at, I just need to get this for this right now, as opposed to the big picture thinking.
I mean, I understand the logic, though. You had Case Keenum, and I know we're dating back. We're not talking NFL coming up. And Case Keenum was a guy who was incredibly accurate, wasn't going to make a mistake, but he couldn't zip the ball downfield.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirk Cousins has a big arm. He's got an attitude. He's got a swagger. So the idea was with the dominant run game, it would be a simple 1-2-3 read. It wouldn't be as difficult.
I don't know about the swagger, but I'm with you in that looking at Cousins as an upgrade from Keenum. Okay, I get that. But you made Cousins the most, the highest paid quarterback in the league. You can't do that. That to me is, killing the mosquito with a bazooka. You've got this, yes, we just need to upgrade quarterback just a little bit. That's the missing piece. We just need to upgrade a little bit. Okay, if you can upgrade a little bit by spending a little bit or a little bit more, I'm with you. When you got to spend everything to upgrade a little bit, then it doesn't make any sense. Not in a league where there's a salary cap. It doesn't make any sense. It is in a way with the Cavs, going back to Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith and all the money that they spent on those guys. It's like, okay, yeah, you maintain, but you overpaid. With a salary cap, if you overpay for talent anywhere, you're going to end up paying a price. If you're talking about winning a championship, if you're just trying to get along and be competitive, okay, that's one thing. But if you're trying to win a championship, every dollar has to count.
Well, that's the nice part about free agency. If you hit it at the right time and there's a need, you're going to get paid.
Oh, from a player's standpoint, it's terrific.
When you're going to get underpaid, that's just the market, bro.
I get that. I get that.
The market.
I get that. But it's like the moves that I talked about this on the last podcast. The Texans and the moves they made. Like, I understand Bill O'Brien's got to win right now. He's the only playoff win he has to his name was against the third string Raiders quarterback Connor Cook because Matt McGloin got hurt in the game and Derek Carr broke his leg 2 weeks earlier. That's the only win in, I think, 4 or 5 attempts that he's had. That he's desperate to win. But the moves that he made are going to hamstring this team's moving forward, and I don't know that they necessarily got distinctly better. They moved around their talent. It's better positioned to protect Deshaun Watson with Laramie Tunsil at left tackle, but it's not as if, giving up multiple future first round picks and a second rounder just isn't worth what they got. Speaking of which, teams that have evolved, the Packers win a game over the Bears 10-3, and Aaron Rodgers interviewed after the game, and I've never seen a guy so happy. I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, so I'm a believer in him, and he's been taking a lot of criticism lately. And this to me gave you a insight into what his thinking is. They won 10-3, and he was over the moon about the fact that they had a defense. Said it twice. Hey, we've got a defense.
That's something he hadn't really quite had.
No,
that Super Bowl run,
right?
They were really built around him passing the ball.
Yep.
But he sits out all the preseason, Rick, and this is the first time he probably I didn't have to do everything. Like, I didn't carry us.
Yes.
Like, I didn't carry us. Like, wow.
Yes. And he loved it.
And it's weird. It's almost like when I watched that game, it was like part of me was like, he doesn't feel like it's go time. Like, he doesn't feel the pressure.
Right.
Like, he can just manage this thing out.
Well,
like, he can chill.
Yeah. And maybe because in the past, it was like, if we don't score 28, 29 points, we're not going to win.
You're going to have a shot.
I have to extend plays. I have to make some miracle moves. And now it's just like, now I can just play football. He looked so happy about that. To which because the criticism of Aaron in some ways is that Aaron is all about Aaron and he's not a good teammate, and his view of this win and his reaction to it, to me, says some of that criticism may be misplaced.
I don't think that kind of, takes the blood guilt away, Rick. In a sense that, like, yes, you won, but that doesn't mean you're not a jerk still. Like, you played like crap. You set out all the preseason. Like, yeah. I don't think that just absolves him completely.
Well, I'm not saying it absolves him. I've never necessarily bought into all of the criticism. Some questions about his relationship with his brother Jordan and his family and all of that. I mean, Aaron's a unique guy, no question. I just feel as if over the last 3-4 months, he's really been portrayed as this guy who's not, just not everything that he's been made out to be as a player. And a lot of it being personal scrutiny of his character. And his reaction tonight, just to me, was defied what people said about him, which is it's got to be all about Aaron. It could have been very easy. If it was living up to the criticism, he would have been kind of diffident and would have been maybe questioning the offense, that they weren't able to score enough or whatever it might be. And there was none of that. He loved the fact that their defense won the game. So points for him. All right. Last thing we want to hit before we go. Team USA, nearly lost to Turkey, should have lost, didn't, won in overtime, and then put a beat down on Japan. I'll put it simply to you right now. Do you have them, based on what we saw in group play and knowing what they have in front of them, Serbia, Spain, Greece, etc., do you have them winning gold?
I would take this USA team. I would give them a 70% chance at gold. Just because, man, if you hadn't learned anything from that Turkey game, when the stakes are even, you can lose to anybody, bro. In international play, these dudes will scratch and claw and fight and hit buzzer beaters and go 10 of 11 from the 3-point line. Like, it's a different ball game, bro.
Yeah,
it is a game of inches. And the USA team, they're absolutely growing during this process. And I mean, this could be arguably one of Popovich's greatest achievements as a gold medal, as it comes to that. But I give them a 70% chance, bro, just because it could be anybody. And as the rounds go on in international play, the game changes. They get more film on you, and you really can get exposed out there, bro.
I'm going to go 40-60.
I
think there's a better chance. I think there's a better chance that they don't win the gold. But I will say that I love the way that this team is evolving. And the way they're coming together. And honestly, they're winning gold. I'm just cut from a different cloth right now when it comes to our national team. But for me, it's not about like we have to impose our superiority or whatever. I want to see our players, our young players, grow in the game. I want to see them get better. I want to see them represent us with a game and with an attitude that shows that they love the game and that they love playing with each other. And this team has shown me that. And so, like, it's a little bit, you can have, the jackasses out there, the jackass team, guys that are hard to root for and they win a gold. I'm like, okay, they won a gold, but yeah, they're still jackasses. There are no jackasses on this team. I just love the attitude of this team and the way they've talked about each other and how much they love playing with each other. And they don't have any expectations other than, we're shooting for gold. We know we're up against it, but we're going to try to be as good as we can be. We're going to try to come together and try to get it done. I love that. What's not to love?
The biggest takeaway that I'm getting from this USA team, the biggest takeaway is that the Boston Celtics are going to have a heck of a season. Marcus Smart,
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown,
Jason Tatum,
Kemba Walker,
and Kemba Walker. These guys are getting experience playing together during the summertime that they won't get in a pro-am, that they won't get in the practice facility, that they won't get in some private workout with Kobe Bryant, okay?
Yeah.
These guys are getting experience, which you can't take away.
Yeah.
Boston Celtics, I'm looking at this team differently for the experience that they're getting right now.
All right.
This could be a game changer, and hats off to the Celtics organization for going, hey, we're sending our guys over. We're sending them all over. You guys are all playing. No problem. Go have at it.
Saw Danny Ainge was at the LA practices, checking in on his guys. Yes, I give Boston credit, and let's see if it pays off for them. We will, in one of our upcoming Bucher and Hollins podcasts, we will pick our top 5 in both conferences. Actually, we may have to go, I don't know if we're going to go to the extent we did last year when we started this thing, because we broke it down. We had different categories. We did all that. I think we may simplify things. I'm good with doing that again if you want, but I kind of killed you in my predictions versus your predictions. So I don't want to put you through that again if you don't want to be, as you said, exposed. So
maybe we need to post these predictions and see what we say.
Oh,
we could post these predictions,
and we could do that too. We will do that.
Oh gosh.
However, in the next podcast, Will Blackmill will be joining me all the way from London, England. He will not be doing any accents as far as I know. But then again, who knows? But we will look at we'll get his take on Antonio Brown, because he's been very out front on his thoughts, mostly tongue-in-cheek on Twitter, on social media. But he's also been a defender of Antonio Brown in a big way, and we'll see if he's still defending him after all that we've seen transpire. And then we'll get his feel for the first Sunday of football, because we'll be recording this after the first slate of games Sunday night. All right. Don't forget, we appreciate you rating and reviewing the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want us to do something for you, screenshot that review and send it to @BucherFriends, and you will be eligible to win some prizes. DJ Tony, the Kobe's are in the mail. Put them in the mail today. So they are on their way. Please take a photo of you wearing them and send it to us, because we'd like to know that they fit and you're enjoying them. All right. That does it for Ryan, for myself. As always, thanks for listening.